Welcome to part 2 of the travel Q&A, where Jamie was asked 1,000,001 questions about traveling and is trying to answer them to the best of her ability. Earthly Film said, do you have any future traveling plans or ideas? Well, I have many future traveling plans and ideas. I am going to be going to Cherry Springs State Park this summer, which is in Pennsylvania. I'm going to be going to Canada and hopefully Woodstock again this summer. I really want to do a cross-country road trip within the next year of my life, which I'm currently planning. I'm not planning it for a specific date, but just planning for when the time arises. I can already have the list of places I want to go laid out. I'm definitely going to get back to Europe within the next year. I'd love to go back to California, but I was just there, so don't need to think about that right now. South America for sure want to get to. I think my main priority is going to be visiting state and national parks. I have just felt such a connection with camping, and I've never been a camper until this year, and I've just had the most incredible, humbling experiences with it, and I just want to keep doing it. Mathilda we met said, would you travel by your own, like really alone, or do you think it's a bad idea concerning my age or whatever? I've never traveled completely alone. I mean, I've flown alone and I've hung out in airports for 11-hour layovers alone, but I've never really gone into a city or a place I'm not used to alone. I don't know how I would handle that situation. I'd like to think I'd handle it really well and enjoy it, but I don't know, so if and when that happens, I'll get back to you. Hardcore said, what do you think about voluntourism and how would you go about researching a possible organization to travel with? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a whole lot about this topic, but I know that if you do some research, you'll find, YouTubers or people way more educated on this topic. But I do think, opinion-wise, that voluntourism or volunteering while traveling is the most beneficial way to travel because you want to make a positive, lasting mark on the places you go, or to feel like you're traveling for more than leisure, because traveling for leisure is wonderful, but eventually you kind of have to think to yourself, what more am I doing? What more can I give this world? If you don't have an answer for that, then maybe you should consider volunteering more. Christina Norman said, what are your tips for getting good prices on things like transportation, accommodation, and activities? Transportation-wise, if you're going somewhere nearby or driving distance, definitely drive. It's definitely more dangerous because a lot more things can go wrong when you're behind the wheel, but at the same time, if you're comfortable driving, which I am, then it can be a lot cheaper for you. If you're gonna be flying somewhere, use the website skyscanner.com to find the cheapest, travel prices. I have been flying with Frontier a lot. Shitty airline, their seats don't recline, their trays are about this big and they don't pull out. The flights are really bumpy, the seats are like lawn chairs, but the prices of the flights are dirt cheap, so I take it anyway. I'd rather have a really uncomfortable few hours than be paying double the price for luxury for a few hours. It's all about perspective. Accommodation, the cheapest way, stay with a friend. It's free, it's wonderful, it's lovely. If you have to pay, look into getting hostels or Airbnb or couch surfing, which is also extremely cheap, but there are a lot more moving parts and variables if you don't know the people that you're staying with. So if I were you, I'd find friends online and stay with them. And activities, like I said before, find the cheap or free activities in the city and only pay for 1, 2, 3 things at most. Matilda Maria said, how do you stock up with food for camping? Do you buy lots of canned things or pre-cook them at home? Do you plan what you'll be eating? The answers are yes, yes, and yes. I could go into detail, but my friend Marissa, who I went camping with in Shenandoah, she actually just made a video all about the food that we ate while we were camping, and I'm gonna link that somewhere around here and also in the description below. So go check out that video for a much more detailed description of what we ate than I could possibly give you right now. Recover to Travel said, how do you travel and still go to school and make enough money for it? Where do you stay? Who do you go with? I go to school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single day of the week. I work 20 to 25 hours at my job every single week, and it mostly leans toward 20, so it's not that bad. But the point is that, no matter what, I am working 20 hours per week, and I get paid very well, and I love my job, so I am making a consistent amount of money every other week when I get my paycheck. When I travel, I stay with friends, and I go with friends, so it's easy and cheap. Ella Dora said, how old were you when you first traveled alone? And slightly off topic, but how did your parents come around to you meeting and traveling with people through Instagram? The first time I traveled alone was almost exactly a year ago. It was the first time I went to California and met Katie. Katie and I had met through Instagram, as I said in the last video, and and we had talked for a while, and I was going to California to visit colleges with my best friend over spring break, and I texted Katie and I was like, hey, like, I'd love to come a few days early and we can hang out and have a sleepover and meet each other and blah blah blah. So that was the first time I was planning on travel alone, and we somehow made it work, and I bought the flight and I went, and it was the first time I flew alone, which was a weird experience. But the thing about airports is if you follow the signs, you're gonna get where you need to go. Like, it's so simple and there's no reason to freak out. My parents did not want me to go and stay with an internet friend. They felt really creeped out. They asked 101 times to meet her or see her through FaceTime, which I did and made them feel more comfortable about. But in the end, I said this is something I want to do. If I get murdered because she's not real, then I'll just live with it. Laura Barbat said, how do you plan your trips and how do you manage studying but traveling and having a good time at the same time? So I am definitely not perfect at this. I always put off school when I'm traveling. I don't bring books. I don't think about it. And then I get home and I'm like, shit, I have so much work to do, which is kind of what I'm going through right now. And I should be doing homework, but instead I'm filming this. I think the most important tip I can give is do as much as you possibly can before you leave. Be very communicative and open with your teachers. Explain that you want to enjoy your vacation, or that you won't have access to textbooks, or you can't carry them or something, and try to work with them and see what you're going to be missing, what you need to make up, etc. What do you bring with you on trips? What are the real essentials and what things could you leave at home? I think that this is something that could constitute an entire video. So next time I'm traveling, I'll make a video on what I'm bringing and kind of explain that also. I hope you don't mind waiting for that video, but I will do it. Bohemian Hippie said, how do you afford to travel? Plane tickets, especially to the beautiful places you go, and quite regularly. Hi Jess, well, this is a great question. You are asking the million-dollar question that I get asked more than anything else, and the answer is that I work really, really hard. And I've had a job since I was 15, and I work every single week, and I constantly get paychecks, and I'm still living at home, so my parents pay for a lot of expenses, which definitely makes it easier for me to afford to travel. I use Skyscanner to get cheap plane tickets. I buy them if they're reasonable or dirt cheap, which California was. I look at my bank account, I decide if I can afford it, and then I do it. Bless you, Bailey. But the thing in your question is that you said, how do I go quite regularly? The thing is that the plane ride I took to California last weekend was the first time I'd been on a plane since last August. So it'd been like 6, 7, 8 months since I'd been on a plane. So flying on a plane is not a regular thing for me, but traveling by car and going hiking and camping are things that are regular for me. And as I said before, those are things that are quite cheap if you go about them right and you go with a ton of friends who can split the cost with you. So I guess the way I afford to travel regularly is by doing relatively cheap things and saving a lot of money. So there were more questions that I didn't answer, but they were kind of repetitive and asked things that I should dedicate a whole video to, so that's basically all the questions I got asked. I hope that you guys found this helpful, and I hope that it didn't drone on too long. I know Q&As are not my favorite things to watch, and I rarely watch them when people I follow put them out, but I thought that this was kind of necessary with all the traveling I've been doing. If you guys have any ideas for related or unrelated videos I could do to travel in the future, make sure to leave them in the comments below. You can also like this video, give me a subscribe, do all the things that people always ask you to do at the end of a video, and if you do want to watch that video that Marissa made, again, that'll be in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching, I'll see you in the next video, and goodbye!